Portage City Manager Pat McGinnis has made his way to our studio this morning to join us with an update from his city. How are you this morning?
I am doing really great. I'm a little wet. It's raining a little bit out there.
A little bit. Well, Portage City Council meeting last night, and a lot happening at the meeting last night, and those meetings will be starting at a different time in the near future here.
Yeah, it's a very interesting change. Just was brought about by discussions City Council had at their annual goal-setting retreats. They had two of them that were open public meetings, and the topic came up about looking at the form of the agenda, and there's been discussion recently. The city of Kalamazoo and I believe Kalamazoo County made some slight changes. We're always looking at ways to improve the meeting flow and make things work better and be more efficient and productive. These are city council meetings. They're the business meeting for the corporation that is the city of Portage. It's important that they get their work done, that they make good decisions based on good information.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And that is something that's sometimes lost on me, because I go there and I see a room full of people and I want to talk to them and engage and go back and forth. It's like, well, it's not a public hearing necessarily. It's a business meeting, and we do have a time on the agenda for public comment. So people that do come down and show up, they can step up to the podium and let the city council know what's on their mind. So the discussion about moving the meeting back till 6 seems to be a trend. It's not just Portage. It seems to be lifestyle changes have occurred over the last several decades that have made it more palatable, I think, for people to finish their workday and go straight to a meeting and then go home after that and wrap things up. So council talked about the convenience for the public, the convenience for the staff, their own convenience, what they would prefer to do, and decided to give this a trial run. They're going to try it for 6 months and see how it goes. I find Portage to be massively transparent when it comes to the accessibility to all the information they're talking about. Everything is posted on the internet the Thursday before the meeting. Each item that's on the agenda, sometimes we get a little bit of blowback because it was a 342-page agenda. How am I supposed to? Well, yes, that includes all the contracts and all. We make sure we include all those attachments. So if people do want to go look, knock yourself out. But each item has a one-page memo. We're emphatic. Try to keep it to one page, give all the detail, and make it easy for people to understand exactly why the city council has this item on the agenda, what the staff recommendation is. And then if they've got an issue with that, by all means, contact any of their elected officials or staff members. All of our information is super accessible. And then come to the meeting at 6 p.m. and see how it goes. So we'll give that a shot for 6 months, see how it goes, and talk about it again. And we'll keep track of how many people show up and how the meetings tend to flow, what the meeting times are, and give City Council some good, strong feedback on that. Last night was a lot of work. The city council showed up at 5:30 and got out around 9:30, so it was a nice 4-hour meeting for them. The first half was all interviews for boards and commissions, and it's very serious. They're very sincere, and the people that show up are very sincere in their interest, and they explain why they're interested, and council asks some good questions. And I find it fascinating. I just kind of get to fly on the wall this thing. I get to sit and listen, and every now and then I get asked a question. But for the most part, it's just getting to know these citizens, and they're fine people. They're coming out on a kind of a crummy night, and they're throwing their hat in the ring and saying, I'd like to be part of that zoning board of appeals or whatever specific board it is. And I think they probably appointed about 15 people last night to various positions on the different boards and commissions. Then they had the regular meeting, and I'll talk. I'd like to repeat what we did last year. We went through each of the goals in the city council's goal statement after it was adopted, and I'll start that next week. So a little teaser. The next 7 weeks you'll get a different city intention. But last night our YAC showed up. They're the Youth Advisory Council for the city of Portage. Most communities have some sort of a device like this to try to engage our youth in the decision-making process and the governing of the municipality, try to get those kids that have an interest in local government an outlet for that interest, real-life outlet, but also farm those fresh, new, different perspectives on things and listen to them. Like, what are you guys thinking? Because what's most important, I think, about the decisions that they're making today is how is that going to impact our city for the next 40 years? The last 40 years are very important, but what's to come? And those are the citizens that are going to be they have the most at stake, and they're the quietest. They don't vote very much. They don't show up. So those that want to be involved, we want to grab them. And I think for all of us in broadcasting and all the businesses and education and healthcare and you name the profession, everybody's looking for that gold ring. How do we get the young people interested. So we're all trying to do it. And I think this Youth Advisory Council has really hit the sweet spot, so to speak. Last night, Maddie Herringa, she's a senior, and Elle Johnson is a junior. They showed up to give the annual report, and they stood up there in front of this very intimidating body in this very formal setting and delivered a knockout report about what they've been working on. And they're fairly active. They get together every single month and they talk about things they can be doing, how they can give back to the community, how they can serve. One thing I find wonderful that they do is they try to appoint one of their members to attend each of these other boards and commissions. So we're populating all those different subject areas with at least one young person. And I got to tell you, Ken, when you look around the room in most of the meetings I go to, I see people that look a lot like me, older people who are from a certain demographic, and we try very hard to encourage younger people to come in. And I'm just talking about one specific aspect of diversity. There's gender diversity and racial diversity, and we're trying to work to better our game in all those areas. But when it comes to the youth, having those kids go to the Human Services Board, the Park Board, the Senior Advisory Board, the Environmental Board, the Historic District Commission, it adds a lot of pop and sizzle to those meetings that can otherwise be a little bit dry. And you see all these people who are mature, let's say, and they have lots of experience, and they kind of gravitate towards that opinion that the kid, hey, let's ask the kid, let's see what they have to say, because they came to our meeting, they took their time, and they remember when they were younger, and they probably weren't going to government meetings at that time. So it's just a very flavorful way to create a better outcome for all of us in Portage when our youth plug in like these guys have. They put on the Respect for Law event in October. They partner with the Optimist Club of Kalamazoo. They help out with our Monster Mash. They do holiday gift baskets. They help with adopting families at the holidays. They're doing a big winter snow party on February 3rd, which I'm very sad to hear your weather reports. Looking forward to February 3rd.
Yeah, a little bit of a thaw.
It might be a mud bowl instead of a sledding event, but they are talking about their contingency plans, which really a little adversity, and we're going to see how agile they are. Are they able to come up with some plans to do something? And I think they'll surprise us, and I'm looking forward to that. The Green-a-thon, the opening day of our farmers market, ain't that far off. It'll be here before you know it. And they're going to do their Green-a-thon that day, which is kind of an environmental awareness event that they put on the first day of the farmers market. They're very interested in climate change, as all of our young people seem to be, and they're infusing that in all aspects of our society. So our own YAC's working on that. And they've got a social media committee, which they're the people who are really good at that stuff. So if they can help us get the word out about what the city's doing into the social media channels that I fail to understand completely when it comes to Instagram and some of those things that the kids are active in, they're doing that for us. And they're letting people know, hey, the city's talking about raising your sewer rates. And for a young person, that's a big deal for the next 40 years. How much more am I going to pay? So I'm glad that we're able to reach out to them. So hats off to Maddie and Al for coming out last night and really paying attention to what's happening in their local government. That was cool.
All right, outstanding. And good night's work last night in Portage has been had. All right. Pat McGinnis is the Portage City Manager, visits with us every Wednesday at this time. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Ken. They will. I think